What is good, everybody? Welcome to the Theology and Show, where we combine the lofty and the regular by talking movies, reviews, trends, comic books, music, whatever, and of course, theology. Today we are reviewing Antman and the Wasp, Quantumania. I think I got that right. Quantumania Realm. Who knows what it was called? It was a mid-movie. But here's my thoughts for it, man. First, if you haven't seen it, I'm about to spoil this thing. So pause, just pause, watch the movie. Unless you don't care to be spoiled, stick around. But here's my initial thoughts, man. It was an average movie for me. If I was grading it A to F, I'd give it like a C. Maybe on a good day, a C+, on a bad day, a D+. The highlights for me, Paul Rudd, he's charismatic, he's funny, he's winsome. I like him as an actor. I love the character Scott Lang. He's an everyday dude who's an Avenger. He gets big, he gets small, he saves the world. Another highlight for me was definitely Jonathon Majors. He plays the villain Kang the Conqueror. Incredibly dynamic as an actor, so many layers to him. His face alone just makes you feel a certain way when you're watching him. So he is worth the movie, in my opinion, but you can wait for Disney Plus. If you're like, forget the theater right now, just wait for it. Where it fell short for me, man, I just didn't care for the story. It didn't feel like there was anything weighty. There was nothing that felt like it was at stake. The characters, I think, lacked background. The world, to me, the CGI was like kind of fun because it was risky. They're in the quantum realm, but it just kind of lacked some things. With that, though, let's dive into some of the themes, man. There's some things in there that I really, really liked. The first would be there's this really critical scene where Kang actually needs Scott Lang, because of his powers, to go down into this power source area that Kang uses to jump timelines. And he needs Scott to get down there, Antman to get down there with his abilities and recover this power source, shrink it back down so Kang can continue his conquering ways. If he doesn't, Kang did kill Scott Lang's daughter, Cassie. So I was like, all right, I got to do this, right? But what's crazy about this scene is Scott gets into there, and what happens is he enters like this realm of probabilities. And so Scott Lang starts to multiply into a billion different Scott Langs and a billion different Antmans. And what I found like pretty great about that scene was, I was gonna be honest, it just brought my anxiety out, because it does speak to a world today in which there are 1,000 different directions for our lives to go, especially for our young people. Like, we just think, man, my life can go in a million different directions. Which one is the right one? And what you physically see on screen is Scott Lang is drowned out by himself because there's too many options and he can't seem to make up his mind. However, when his girl comes in, Hope, the Wasp, she helps bring a kind of clarity, a kind of meaning, and a kind of purpose. And what I found telling about the scene was, once Scott Lang remembered that his life is worth sacrificing for those who he loves, he actually had clarity about what he was doing. And all of the probabilities of Scott Lang joined forces and were able to help him get to the top, grab this power source, and dip out of there, right? And so that scene to me was telling, because I think it speaks to the angst of our world in which we live with a million different options. I can be this, I can be that, I can do that. With that, not just comes freedom, but it comes, I think, a lot of anxiety. And that scene did a great job, I think, of capitalizing on just a human moment for us in the culture. The second thing that I thought was pretty telling about this movie is Kang has the power through technology to pull himself out of time, to enter into all these different time lines and essentially just free himself from what he thinks is the tyranny of time. He calls time a cage. And I would say, as a Christian, time is actually a gift. Time reminds us that we're human. Time reminds us that we're limited, that the world is finite, but that we should actually see the gift and the beauty in that. And so imagine not just Kang as a villain who's able to free himself from time, get smart, get powerful, and basically beat anybody because he's been in every situation. That's kind of like scary to think about. How do you beat someone who's already seen everything and advanced through it all, right? But I would say the scriptures, the Bible gives to us a picture of a God, the creator, who steps out of time. He creates space, time, and matter. He's distinct from it, but he can operate within it. It's kind of mind-boggling. There's a lot of theology around this. But imagine not a villain like Kang, but a God like King Jesus, who is actually not tyrannical with his ability outside of time, but he's actually good. He's beautiful. He's kind. He's merciful. And he knows every probability in your life, and yet he is directing the only one that matters, which is the one that you're living right now. And he offers something to us that I think this movie is pulling on, right? What if someone is outside of time? Guess what? Someone is outside of time. God is. And you can trust him with your life. And you can consider that his eternality, this idea that God's outside of time, is someone that we can actually trust with our time, with our life, and see that he redeems it with a purpose. And so, like any good stories, this one, I think, does a good job of pulling out that theme of what do we do with our lives. Because at the end of the movie, Scott Lang, after the hero has done his thing, the ants save the day, they have this birthday party for Cassie, even though it's not her birthday. And what we realize is that ordinary moments still matter. What happens in time still very much matters. A theme that Scott Lang says over and over in the story is that there's always room to grow, which is a nod to his ability to get really, really big. But here's how we grow. We grow in ordinary, sacred moments in which we see time not as a cage, but as a gift. I hope this episode has served you well. Man, enjoy Antman. I'm praying the MCU comes back. Jesus, we need a resurrection of the MCU. Bring these stories back. But listen, thanks so much for joining us. If you like this and more things that we have, make sure to like and subscribe. Follow along with all we're producing. Many more episodes to come. Grace and peace. See you soon. Yo, thanks so much for watching the Theology and Show. If you like this content and other things that we're providing, would you please like and subscribe? Stay up to date with everything we are producing and offering to you. See you next time.
Bueno.
Cool?
Let's go, man.